consiste, bibigyan ko kayo ng background. Itong designer na ito at ang iba niyang mga kapwa, scammer ba? Ang ginagawa pala itong mga palangga, binibili nila yung iba sa Baklaran, yung iba kung saan-saan, doon sa mga mananahi talaga sa mga probinsya, hindi talaga pala sila ang gumagawa. Pero I'm not saying na lahat sila. Yung iba talaga na mga prestigyosong mga designers na gumagawa talaga sila ng kanilang mga design, I salute you guys. And that's okay. Pero yung mga humahango lang, tapos papalitan nila ng tatak, ito palangga ang pinaka-pambubudol. Not only sa mga customers nila, kundi kasama sa pambubudol sa bayan. Why? Kasi ako, based sa mga binibigay sa atin na information, ang ginagawa nila, yun nga, bibilhin nila ng 2,000, tapos ibibenta nila ng 200,000 o 250,000 sa politiko. Ito naman si politiko dahil friends, Oh, we're friends, Maharlika the designer, kunyari. How much is this, Maharlika? O sasabihin ko, 250,000. Pero dahil ikaw ay kumakamal ng bilyones o multi-million pesos, so barya lang sa'yo yan. Sa mga mandorobo kasi sa Malacanang, barya lang sa'yo yan. So itong taong sinasabi ko mga palangga, ay BFF ni Lisa Smugs. Bigyan natin siya ng benefit of the doubt. O, di ba? Siya ay mandorobo, nadorobo siya nitong designer na to. At hindi niya siguro na background check. Hindi na background check ni Paul Soriano, okay, dyan sa Presidential Communications. Hindi na background check na ito'y nakalusot. Actually, narinig ko na to nung nasa Pilipinas ako. Pero kasi, sa dami-dami ng issue, mga palangga, sabi ko, that can wait. Sabi ko, tignan natin kung sino mga taong ito. So, ito na nga. So, bakit kailangan natin pag-usapan to? Kasi apektado po ang budget ng Pilipinas, budget ninyo, yung pera ng bayan. Sabi ni Shawi Yamashita, sabi niya, oh my God, fraud in many cases. So, recently, ay nagkaroon pa ng fashion show. I think, couple of, not the other day, si Abel yun, the other week, so definitely this is not Abel. Alright? So, 2 weeks ago, okay? So, nandoon, nagrampa ang mga kakilala natin mga hitad.
Between Manila, Philippines, and Los Angeles, California. He was the featured designer mentor in the 2002 award-winning documentary, The World's Most Fashionable Prison. His big break came in 2002 when he was a finalist at the Philippines Young Designers Competition for Paris. After a decade leading a design house in Manila, Quinones relocated to Los Angeles, California, where he was one of the featured designers for the J Summer Fashion Show in New York City in June 2014. He designed one of Katy Perry's costumes for her Dark Horse music video. Please go on mute. Quinones was a guest designer for America's top model, Cycle 21. He designed clothes using fabrics native to the Philippines for a runway challenge. In 2015, Quinones became creative director for the global bridal brand Coco Melody. In 2018, Quinones and partner Paul Martineau established Puy Quinones Los Angeles in the designer's downtown atelier. They opened 2 showrooms in Bel Air Village, Makati, the first for Quinones' fashion brand and the second for Coco Melody bridal wear. E! News correspondent and TV host Zuri Hall wore his dress to the very famous Met Gala in 2019. In 2020 and again in 2022, the Los Angeles County Museum of Art acquired a Mr. Quinones dress for its permanent collection. Quinones' designs have been featured in publications, television shows, movies, music videos, and red carpet events. He was especially proud when actress Melissa McCarthy wore one of his designs to the 2024 SAG Awards. His creations have been worn by other celebrities, such as Destiny's Child member Michelle Williams, Miss Universe 2012, Olivia Culpo, True Blood actress Rutina Wesley, fashion model and actress Ireland Baldwin, Fuller House actress Lori Loughlin, American rapper MC Lyte, among others. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Quinones' attorney, Keith Gregory. Keith Gregory is a partner at the law firm of Snell and Wilmer. With over 35 years of experience, Keith, who serves as co-chair of the Commercial Litigation Group in California, regularly handles cases in the areas of general business, real estate, and partnership disputes. He's proud to be working with Puy Quinones. Within the legal community, Keith has been named a legal visionary and diversity, equity, and inclusion and accessibility visionary by the Los Angeles Times, frequently speaking on DEI panels. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce Keith Gregory.
Thank you, Amy. Welcome, everyone. On June 21, 2023, Hui Quinones's life changed when Claire Contreras posted on Bold Yak TV a video blog during which Ms. Contreras, who is also known as Maharlika, made the following defamatory statements about Mr. Quinones. The budget of the Philippines is affected by this designer. It affects all your livelihoods. This fashion scammer designer is taking away from your children and families' livelihoods. She also said they're taking away from your family. A change in the Philippines is being prevented by Pui, the fashion scammer. She went on to say he is taking Filipino taxpayers' money, prohibits your life to get better. This is all because of this fashion scammer spending money for the people. A designer, that's a scammer named Pui, is a fraudster thief. He steals
Excuse me, Keith, I'm sorry to interrupt you. We can't see your face very well. Can you please fix your camera?
Sure.
And please, everyone, be on mute. Thank you.
Is that better?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
No, it's still, I'm sorry, excuse me. I want everyone to be able to see your face. Excuse me, I'm sorry to interrupt.
You know what? Hold on.
Did you just see your forehead?
Yeah.
That's all right. Okay.
Let me stand.
There's just a screen in the middle of your box.
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody else, please do us the favor of muting yourself on Zoom. There's several of you that still have your mute button on, off. So please mute.
Thank you.
Let me go on. He is taking another statement that Ms. Contreras made was that he is taking Filipino taxpayers' money, prohibits your life to get better. This is all because of this fashion scammer. He's spending money for the people. A designer that's a scammer named Pui is a fraudster thief. He steals the country's money over pricing on all his products, and there's a punishment for that. She went on to say, finally, it's a project on OFW's money was given to Pui, and there was no project. Pui took all the money from this. Pui took all the proceeds from the Filipino Artist Project. What a useless designer Pui is. OFW's, all their hard work, Pui stole. Pui is an OFW. Ms. Contreras falsely claimed that Mr. Quinones' designs are counterfeit, not his own, and that he's been scamming the people of the Philippines by swindling the First Lady who he dresses. Ms. Contreras' false claims are based on a one-time occurrence that happened over a decade ago and have long since been resolved. Following that episode in Mr. Quinones' career, he shortly thereafter reestablished himself as a respected fashion designer with notable clients in the United States, the Philippines, and worldwide. Claire Contreras is a stranger to Pui Quinones. The two have never met. They've never spoken. These accusations by Ms. Contreras, these false accusations, these defamatory statements, have greatly impacted Mr. Quinones, his business, his reputation, and his life in Manila and in the Philippines. Mr. Quinones, through counsel as a result of these defamatory statements, sent a cease and desist letter to Ms. Contreras demanding that she do the following: immediately remove the video containing the defamatory statements about Mr. Quinones off any and all of her online platforms. Immediately publish a retraction and correction of the defamatory video on all her online platforms. and provide Mr. Quinones with prompt written assurances that Ms. Contreras would cease and desist from making any further defamatory statements concerning Mr. Quinones' character and reputation. Unfortunately, Ms. Contreras ignored the cease and desist letter. She didn't respond to it. She didn't say anything about it. Instead, she just ignored it, leading Mr. Quinones to file a complaint against Ms. Contreras in the Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles, for defamation. Since the filing of the complaint, we have attempted on numerous occasions to serve Ms. Contreras with the summons and complaint in that action. And Ms. Contreras has evaded service. So all those efforts have been unsuccessful. Mr. Quinones has suffered damages as a result of Ms. Contreras' defamatory statements, as he's lost various clients and business opportunities. Our next steps are as follows. What we need to do is we need to get Ms. Contreras served, either personally or by substituted service, or if she's completely evading service, then by publication with an order from the Superior Court. Once served, Ms. Contreras will have 30 days in which to respond to the complaint. Our plan is to take this case to trial so that Mr. Quinones can get his day in court with a judgment in his favor, establishing that Ms. Contreras defamed him. Our goal is to assist Mr. Quinones in restoring his reputation and recovering the damages that were caused by Ms. Contreras. Thank you very much.
Okay, everybody. I would like to open the floor to questions from the media, and this way we can provide further clarification and address any inquiries regarding this case only. When you do ask your question, please do unmute, obviously, and everybody else, please stay muted and wait. And also, please tell us your name in case it's not showing on here, and also from what media outlet you are from.
And you can raise your virtual hand on Zoom, and Sophia will call on you. So under reactions, you can raise your hand, and we will call on you.
Okay, I see a hand from Saksi Yuanan. Saksi.
Please ask your question and identify which media outlet you are with.
Yes, hello, good morning. I am Daniel Asido from Saksi Ngayon. I just want to ask Attorney Keith regarding the timeline of the case. Can you give us a timeline of the case? When did you file the first cease and desist order? And yeah, take it from there. Yeah, thank you.
Sure, thank you. The complaint was filed last month. We have been attempting to serve Ms. Contreras for about 20 days since then. We haven't been successful yet. If we continue not to be successful, we will file a motion with the court for an order to be able to serve her by publication. That process takes about 45 days. Once she's served by publication, she will then have 30 days in which to respond. We have a status conference scheduled in this case, I think in June. At that time, the court will either set the case for trial if Ms. Contreras has responded to the complaint. If not, the court and Ms. Contreras has been served, then the court will order us to seek Ms. Contreras' default, which we will do, and then we will take her default judgment, and we'll have to have a prove-up hearing which would probably take place sometime in the fall. And if the case ended up where Ms. Contreras responded to the complaint and we had to have a trial, I would expect the trial to take place sometime probably spring or summer of 2025. That's how long it's taking now to get cases through the Superior Court in Los Angeles.
Okay, the next hand I see is Eduardo Dural. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Attorney. So you've been mentioning the case.
I'm having a difficult time hearing you.
So I'm asking if the U.S. has jurisdiction over the case you filed here in America over the Philippines.
I'm sorry, but it's very difficult to hear you, Mr. Doral. Is there a way that you could go on turn your volume up or something? I'm not sure.
You know what, Eduardo, you can also type your question if you'd like in the chat.
That's a very good idea.
All right, okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
and we can take it from there. It might, you sound like you're a little underwater. Sorry.
Right. Please type your message in the chat. We will go on to the next speaker and then we will answer your question.
Okay,
Okay.
the next question I'm seeing hand is from Val Gonzalez. Please go ahead. Val Gonzalez, I see your hand is raised. Would you like to ask a question?
You are still on mute, Mr. or Mrs. Gonzalez.
Yeah, you're on
You're on
mute.
mute, so you might be asking your question. We can't hear you.
Okay, well, let's move on to anyone else. Tap one, I just saw you raise your hand. Okay, go ahead, unmute, Tap. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I just want to ask Attorney Kate if there is a possibility.
Mr. Juan, we can't hear you either.
We can't hear you. You might have your volume down, please. Well,
Now you're on mute.
yeah.
For a while.
We can't hear you. I'm so sorry.
Okay, Val Gonzalez, do you want to ask the question?
Okay, well, we'll move on to the next person. Anybody else?
Does Pui have a statement that he'd like to? Pui, is there something that you would like to say?
Hi, good morning.
Oh, yes. Can we go ahead and then we'll go to Sai? Sai, you had a question?
Go ahead, Pui.
Well, I just want to, it took me a while to really think about pushing this case because, as much as possible, I don't want trouble. I don't like stress because I had stress enough already with my life, work, and all that. But I feel like the black of Maharlika really affected me in business, not only business but also mentally. I got really depressed after that happened, and I feel traumatized about what she has said, and I can't believe someone will accuse me of, scamming the people in the Philippines and participating or involving me and the First Lady as as scammers, and it's just absurd because and I just can't comprehend people like that would issue a statement without verifying facts and doesn't even think, how it will affect someone's life, especially, not only the business but my mental health. Because of that, I've been taking antidepressant and anxiety because I just couldn't handle it sometimes. It's been hard really for the past few months, and it was hard. So
It was important for you to stand up for yourself and
Yeah.
to seek counsel that
Yeah.
could go to the courts on your behalf so
Mhm.
that this injustice would not continue.
Yes. So, for once, I just want this evilness stop and bring it to justice because what she have said is is just very wrong and evil, I would say.
Thank you for being so honest.
Thank you so much, Billy. I do see the questions in the chat. I think, Sai, you wanted to ask a question. I thought I saw you raise your hand. If you'd like to ask, thank you. And then we'll get to the ones in the chat.
Thank you. Can you hear me clear?
Yes.
Am I? Okay. I'm not sure if this is still relevant about the case in behalf of about Maharlika, but I just want to clarify if she will be convicted on this case, being dealt guilty. Will this also include her entire um, social media accounts be diminished and will prohibit her to show up on other social media? The point here is if you will observe on all of her contents, live streamings or blogs, all of them, it's not only about Sir Pruick Nones here, who has this kind of contents that she's making. And all of her contents has no basis and evidence at all. It just so happens that Sir Quinones here is the one who filed the case against her, but actually she has a lot of victims. All of her subject on her contents are really into like the same worst case scenario as Sir Poo. So I just like to clarify if will this include her entire capability or authority to show up on social media or to create another account, whether this current account that she has right now filled with this libelous contents, if we may say, will be prohibited as well in public. So that's all.
Thank you for that question. And that's a very interesting question. And unfortunately, her platforms will not be taken off the air. However, it is my understanding that this is not the first action that was filed against Ms. Contreras. There is another action that was filed against her by someone who's living in the Philippines in the federal court in Los Angeles. So hopefully what these actions will do is that they will have an effect on Ms. Contreras to cause her that if she wants to publish these videos, that she'll only tell the truth on those videos. Because as you said, there are other victims. And those other victims would have the same rights as Mr. Quinones to file a defamation action against her. So that's the standing. As far that's the response to your question. I hope that clarifies things for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I am going to go into the chat right now because we had those questions and then we can go back to everybody that's raising their hand. The first one is from Maureen Rose. Sorry, need my glasses. Could you please give us a recap of the charges filed by Puy Quinones against Claire Eden Contreras?
Thank you, Ms. Mejia. The question, the answer to that question is, in our state court civil action, we allege one single cause of action, and that is for defamation. So that's where we are. That is the one cause of action that has been alleged, because that's what took place. Ms. Contreras defamed Mr. Quinones. And as a result of the defamation, Mr. Quinones has suffered damages.
Thank you, Keith. The second question, this is from Val Gonzalez from DZRH. My question is how long this judicial process will take place before a judgment will be made?
Thank you, Val. The answer to that question is it really depends. If Mr. Quinones, if Ms. Contreras does not answer the complaint and allows the case to go to default, then we should have a judgment in this case sometime by the fall. But if she does file an answer and we have to proceed through the discovery phase, which is where the parties get to ask each other written questions and take depositions and do things like that, then I would anticipate, because of the clogged courts in Los Angeles, we probably wouldn't get to trial until sometime in the spring or summer of 2025.
Thank you. Okay, the next one is from Justine, a blogger. She said, you mentioned damages to Mr. Quinones after the statements from Maharlika. Are you thinking of asking for moral damages?
Well, Justine, when you say moral damages, I'm going to assume, and I hate to assume, but I'm assuming that you mean like for emotional distress, those type of damages. And if that is the case, then we are, as you heard from Mr. Quinones himself, he has suffered emotionally as a result of these defamatory statements. So we will definitely be asking for those kind of damages as well.
Thank you. Okay, the next question is from Megan Hall. Will a copy of the full complaint filed in the state of California be available following this Zoom call?
The copy of the complaint is available. It's a matter of public record. So you have the right to go on to the Los Angeles Superior Court website, and you could download the complaint from that. It's very easy to access.
Thank you.
Can we make that available if they want to email us to get that?
Absolutely. We'd be happy to make it available to you.
You can send me the link, and I will put my email in the chat right now, and I will send that to anyone that wants to see it.
Okay, the next question is from Johnny DeBogger. Since this is a civil case, how much will it cost Claire for this?
Well, that's difficult to determine at this time. We will have a damages expert determine what Mr. Quinones' damages are. There are lost clients. There are lost business opportunities that he's already had. So once we're able to calculate all of those damages, we will have a number and use that number to prove up Mr. Quinones' case when the case goes to trial or to a default hearing.
Okay, next, so Foxy, we still have your hand up. I'm not sure if you're back on and you want to ask your question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for taking my follow-up question. Yeah, I have a follow-up question for Mr. Puy. Sir, since you mentioned that you lost clients, can we get an estimate regarding how much lost business did Maharlika cost you? Thank you.
Attorney, can I say the number?
Well, you can give an estimate.
Yeah.
So but it's not going to be, I mean, the number that you give is not necessarily the number that will be awarded to you or the number that the court feels that you're entitled to. It may be less, it may be more.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot to still discover.
Yeah, so we're trying to get $2 million for damages.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Sophia, you're on mute.
You want mute?
I was doing so good.
Okay.
The next question is from Macon Araneta from MLA Standard. Don't you have this cyberbullying in the state of California since the Defamatory Act was online? Don't you have any idea of Contreras' location?
Well, let me answer the first question about cyberbullying. Ms. McCone, the reason why we want to keep this case simple. So we decided that we would just focus on the defamation. There's certainly cyberbullying going on here, but we wanted to just focus on the defamation. It's a much easier claim to establish, especially since all the statements are false. And we just wanted to go from there. As far as having any idea of Ms. Contreras' location, we've gone to the apartment where she was previously substituted served to try to get her served. The process server has reported to us that according to the landlord, Ms. Contreras has moved. So she's not at that apartment any longer. We have hired a private investigator to try to determine where Ms. Contreras is currently located, and we will get her served, whether it's personally, by substituted service, or by publication. I can assure you of that.
Thank you, Keith. Okay, the next question is from Dante. My question is, what the issue and motive of Maharlika in attacking Mr. Quinones was what the first lady was dragged on this issue, or why the first lady was dragged on in this issue.
In response to that question, we have no idea. We don't know why the first lady was dragged into this. We don't know why Ms. Contreras made these defamatory statements about Mr. Quinones. They've never met. They are strangers to each other.
Yeah, I think I can answer.
Sure.
I think because, I worked with the first family. I designed her clothes and also the president. So I guess he thinks I'm associated to them, and maybe he doesn't like the family, and then I guess he thinks he wants to involve me. And he just want to hurt me, probably my integrity and my credibility, because I'm associated to the first family by designing them. I'm just making clothes, and I have no other agendas but just to make beautiful dresses for her to look good. So that's it. So, and I think because I was one of the first fashion designer who did a fashion show inside the Golden Bird Mansion compound last May, and I think that's one of the reasons. And I think for me, I'm actually, that project of the First Lady is very helpful in our industry as a fashion designer, because in the Philippines, there's no real platform for us designers to showcase our pieces, which is he didn't understand people that fashion is a multi-million industry if you take it seriously. And we are here to help not only the economy but also the weavers in the Philippines. So that was the goal of the show. And there's no anything negative or hidden agenda for that show to make, because it's all about helping the community and actually giving livelihood to weavers and showcasing the Filipino talent as a world-class talent. And I couldn't fathom the fact that her statements becomes in a scamming people in the Philippines, and I don't understand it.
Okay, I'm going to go to the next question that has hand raised from Music and Topic TV.
Hi, my first question is for Mr. Pui. The second question will be to Attorney Kate. Mr. Pui, are you willing to settle if Maharlika asks for settlement? Are you willing to settle? Are you willing to pursue the case against you?
We really want to pursue the case because I think justice is needed, and I deserve justice of what she's done. I don't want other people to get hurt by what she just keep telling people without fact checking, and because she only not destroys relationships, businesses, but I think for me it's the mental health is very important right now, which affects me and probably other people that she has been victimized.
Thank you. For Mr. Attorney Kate, what happened if Maharlika or Claire Eden Contreras moved to another state that California have a different law in that state? Are you still willing to pursue her, or what's going to be the option for you?
Well, sir, that's a very good question. However, because Ms. Contreras, Maharlika, made the statements on a platform while being in Los Angeles, the California courts have jurisdiction over her. It doesn't matter that she's moved to a different state. She still has to defend this action here in California. And even if she went back to the Philippines or moved to a different country, another country, she would still have to defend this action in California because the damage was caused and was done in California.
Thank you. That's all.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to go back to the chat room questions. This is from Fred Calbag. Is there no criminal aspect of the case?
I'm a civil litigator. I'm not a criminal defense attorney. But I do not think that at this time it would be appropriate to bring criminal charges against or to file a complaint with a district attorney here in Los Angeles against her. Because if we did, then she would be entitled to take what's called the Fifth Amendment and not incriminate herself. So we don't want to even threaten that at this point because we want her to be able to be deposed and to answer our questions. I don't even know if she's going to appear in this case. The way that she's hiding now and not responding to not allowing us to serve her makes me think that she's just going to have us take her default.
Okay, the next question is from Janelle Phil Perkins. I think it's a two-part question, so I'll do the first part, Keith. Since the First Lady's name has been floated as being involved, has she issued a statement? Will she be issuing a statement?
As far as I know, I'm not aware of the First Lady issuing any type of statement in this case. And I'm not in a position to speak for the First Lady, and I don't think Pui Quinones is in a position to speak for the First Lady either.
And the second part is, how far are you willing to take this case? Will you be open to a settlement if presented and offered?
As you heard from Mr. Quinones and you heard from me, our plan is to take this case all the way through trial. We want to, and the reason why is to make sure that Mr. Quinones gets his day in court and gets awarded the damages that he's entitled to, and also that Ms. Contreras knows not to do this again to someone else.
Great. I believe we skipped Eduardo accidentally. My question was, since you are filing the case in the U.S., does your court have jurisdiction on the case, considering the respondent is in the Philippines? Thank you.
Thank you, Eduardo. As I mentioned earlier, the court in California has jurisdiction over Ms. Contreras because Ms. Contreras made the defamatory statements while here in California. If she had made them while being in the Philippines, but she was a resident of California, the court in California would still have jurisdiction over her because she's a resident of California. But because she made the statements here in California, it doesn't matter where she may be a resident. The California court has jurisdiction over her.
Okay, great. The next question is from Eunice Celario. He is from DWIZ. My question for Mr. Pui is, do you know, well, I think this was already answered, obviously. Do you know Maharlika personally, or are you two are former associates? Why did she defame you, or why she is attacking you? I believe we covered that.
I never met her. I don't even know about her since the blood came out. I have no idea who she is.
Okay. Our next question is from Liza Soriano. When did you file cease and desist order to Maharlika to stop her from damaging more of Mr. Quinones?
The cease and desist letter was written on Mr. Quinones' behalf by another attorney in the beginning of December of 2023. And it's not an order, it was just a letter requesting that she comply with the terms set forth in the cease and desist letter. And if she had, then this legal action would not have been filed. But she didn't. So that's why we filed it.
Okay, great. The next question, Jason Thomas. How many cases can you file to charge Maharlika?
We filed the one action, and that's what we're going to be proceeding
on. Our next question is Chris Ulo. If Maharlika loses in this case, do you think this case can be effect for being a U.S. citizenship or citizen?
I'm not an immigration attorney either, but I would think that just because she loses a civil action that's been filed against her, that probably would not have an effect on her ability to secure U.S. citizenship. It might, but I don't believe so. But I would speak with an immigration attorney for the answer to that question.
Okay, so the next question is from Megan Hall. She has a few questions. Megan, go ahead.
Thank you. Hi, Keith. I'm Megan Hall from Sourcing Journal in New York. You've mentioned a couple of times that you guys want to take this case to trial, but you've also said that the primary interest is in recovering Pui's reputation and recovering justice. You've said that this case probably wouldn't be tried until mid-2025 if it were to go to trial. So do you anticipate that there would be additional loss to Quinones before that trial would actually take place? And why is it viable to pursue a trial even if a settlement is offered for justice to be quote unquote served prior to that date, which seems far away? Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hall. That's a very good question. And I would say to all of you that 95% of all cases settle. But there are cases that sometimes don't settle. And this could be one of them. Now, if Ms. Contreras made a settlement offer that Mr. Quinones felt was reasonable and felt like it complied with his demands, then he might settle. But at this point, she has done nothing. She's done nothing. She didn't respond to the cease and desist letter. She hasn't allowed us to serve her with the complaint because we think she's evading service. So at this point in time, it's our belief that this case has to be taken to trial. And I know it's a long time off, but Mr. Quinones, one of the reasons why we're doing this press conference is because we're trying to help him restore his reputation through avenues like this. But his reputation has already been damaged. He's already suffered damages. And we're trying, our job as a plaintiff, his responsibility as a plaintiff is to try to mitigate those damages. So we're doing the best we can to try to mitigate the damages. But we're kind of subject to the court's calendar. If we could get this case to trial next week, we would do that. Next month, even in 6 months. But that's just not going to happen, unfortunately, because the courts are so backed up. So Mr. Quinones is going to do the very best he can over this next period of time to try to restore his reputation. But his reputation has already been damaged because of those defamatory statements. And the damages that he is going to recover will be based on the damages that he has already suffered.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. My second question is actually about the damages that you just mentioned. So I know that you filed for $2 million in damages. I'm interested to know how you came up with that figure. And Pui, if maybe you could give a specific instance of how your business was harmed by these defamatory statements that you allege. Thank you.
Yeah, so to answer the question, before this law came out, my business is really doing well because I just had a fashion show in the Palace, and then I opened a showroom in Los Angeles, and then I'm supposed to have a project with institutional projects, and however, when this news came after submitting all the proposals, it got canceled or on hold. So it's like a 1-year contract that should be getting more, projects. And I hired a lot of people to do the project because I was expecting that it was going to happen. I actually even opened a new facility and factory in the Philippines to help support and give more jobs to the Filipinos. And because of this flood, it really did damage the business.
Obed, please go on mute.
Sorry. Obed, please go on mute. Thank you.
Thank you guys for that. I appreciate it. And Pui, just to clarify, the contract that you're talking about not going through, when that did happen, when it was decided that it wasn't going to go through, were you given a reason that related to Claire Contreras' actions, or were you given another reason?
I was given another reason, but it wasn't really direct to me, but someone from the inside kind of told me because there's a morality issue because of the flag.
Thanks for your help.
So,
Also, Pui, didn't you just get the People Asia award?
oh yeah, 2 days ago, I was awarded as one of the People of the Year award in the Philippines. And it's actually nice to receive that, because it's like giving someone a second chance to rebuild dignity, and I hope it helps me.
Do you have that award handy? I do have a photo of you with it, but
I have it in my living room. Do you want to see?
I think everybody would love to see it, and maybe they could even take a screenshot of it.
Okay, 1 second.
But in the interim, we will go on to the next question for Keith.
1 second.
Sophia will receive.
The next question is from Del Nazario. Do you have any idea if she's backed by someone powerful or with influence, given that she's issuing defamatory statements left and right? If she is, isn't that something of concern to your camp?
Well, of course, it is something of concern to our camp, but we are not aware of her being backed by anyone with either money or is powerful. And that would be the kind of questioning that would take place during the discovery phase when I would take her deposition. So we would find out that information at that time, because if it turns out that she's backed by others, then those other people will probably be added to the complaint as defendants.
So just to show you that this is a trophy from last night's award ceremony. People of the Year award.
Congratulations, sir.
Congratulations.
Okay, the next question is from Derek. If it's possible, will you be requesting YouTube to take down Claire Contreras off the YouTube channel?
At some point we will, but that would be I don't know if YouTube would agree to do that. We would have to provide YouTube with substantial evidence to get them to do that. I think that we may be able to, and the reason why I think we may be able to is if I work in cooperation with the other plaintiff in the other case and their attorney, and go to YouTube with both of us. That is certainly an idea that we're considering.
Sophia, you're on mute.
Again. Lizelle, do you have a question? Lizelle Roy?
Yes. Hello. Yes.
Okay.
Just one question. Since this is not the first time that Maharlika was involved in a cyber libel case, as there were cases also filed here in the Philippines against her, has your camp exhausted all remedies to address this issue, such as reporting her accounts for it to be suspended? Thank you.
Thank you, Lizelle. And we have not exhausted those remedies. We plan to, but our initial focus was to prepare the complaint, get Ms. Contreras served, and then move forward with those kind of steps. And I think it would be helpful if we had a judgment against her. That it would be, I think YouTube would be more willing, once a judgment is issued against her, to suspend her accounts.
Thank you. Okay, the next question is from Dante Maravillas. Do you have a question? Dante?
I think Top One has been trying to ask a question.
I can't find Dante on I just don't know if he's on mute and doesn't Oh, Dante, can you hear us? Here you are. Do you still have a question?
Yeah,
Okay.
ma'am, this is Dante Maravillas, na Bicolano. I just want to ask directly, Mr. Quinones. We heard that you're a Bicolano.
No, my grandfather's from Bicol, but I am from Samar. Actually, born and raised in Samar, but my grandfather is from Bicol. Yes.
So, Mr. Quinones, can you still speak Bicolano or Tagalog?
I speak what I fluently. I was born and raised. I left Samar when I was 18, so I'm very fluent in what I.
So, what could be behind the Maharlika attacks? Do you believe that somebody influential behind Maharlika?
To be honest with you, I don't know about it because don't know anything. I don't know her. That's why I'm actually shocked. Why did she attack me? Because
Yeah.
she's a stranger, so I don't know. And I'm not really in the politics. I'm not really involved with that. I have a different world passion, and I'm very busy trying to give pride to the Philippines. Is all what I do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dante. We have another question from Eduardo. Mr. Quinones, may we know how you will disprove these false defamatory statements hurled against you, and how come the names of the first family, especially Kong Marcos, was dragged into this mess?
I don't understand why also she involved the first lady. I just couldn't get it. I don't know, understand, to be honest. I don't know if where is the hate coming from. And I saw a blog that she really badmouthed the first family all the time, and I can't understand it. As I mentioned, I'm not in the politics industry, so I don't understand the mathematics there.
Okay, our next question is from Fred Kabelbag. Assuming that the California court fails to acquire jurisdiction over the person of the respondent Contreras, is it possible for the court to render judgment?
Well, Mr. Kabelbag, that is a very large assumption on your part that the California court will fail to acquire jurisdiction over the defendant. We believe strongly that the California court does have jurisdiction over the defendant, and the defendant, Ms. Contreras, would have to substantiate her arguments with facts to show that the court doesn't have jurisdiction over her. It will be very difficult for her to do that because the blog that was created, the video, we believe, was created at her studio in California.
Okay, the next question is OPPO. Will there be a case to be filed versus Contreras in the Philippines? Everyone else, if you're not asking a question, please do put yourself on mute. Thank you.
As far as we're concerned at this time, there will not be a case filed against Ms. Contreras in the Philippines. That may change in the future, but right now, our priority is to pursue the case in California.
Okay, we have a few more questions. The next question is from Lizelle Roy. Since this is not the first time that Maharlika was involved in a cyber libel case, has your camp exhausted all remedies to address this issue, such as reporting her social media accounts for her account to be suspended, which I feel like we've answered it a little bit.
I think we have. Yeah. And I think that the next question by Top One also is related to that.
Yeah.
And as I said before, our focus right now is on the civil court action. Once, Ms. Cambery, can you please put yourself on mute? Ms. Cambery, please put yourself on mute. Our goal is to move forward on the state court action. And once we get a judgment in the state court action, then we will go to YouTube and the other platforms.
Okay, and we have a couple more questions. The next one is Ricky from Ricky Brozas. Mr. Quinones, welcome to Calbayog Samar. My question is, has there been a chance or a situation where Maharlika tries to extort you and perhaps is doing this harassment because she failed in her motive?
I don't have a communication with her. And thank you for the welcome from Calbayog and from Northern Samar.
Okay, and we got two more. And Rio Ariaja of Manila Standard. Do you think that Ms. Contreras has the financial capability to identify Mr. Contreras in the event she appears in court and offers a public apology?
I think Mr. Roja, I think we're beyond that point at this stage. Ms. Contreras was given that opportunity with the cease and desist letter. She ignored it. So we're moving forward with this case. We're going to take it to trial and get a judgment in Mr. Quinones' favor.
Okay, the next question is from MR. I would like to ask, what is the title of her Maharlika vlog that led Mr. Pui into this case?
As far as I understand, I don't think there was a title to the vlog.
There's actually,
I
know. Yes. It says, Designer Katandem ni Butod. That's the name of the title.
And what is that in English? Good.
Like, I'm in tandem with, because I think she calls, I don't even want to put the word on my mouth because it's not in my values, but
okay, well then just use what you said. It's fine.
Something like that.
Thank you. Our next question is from Milan Bahada. If Maharlika is found guilty, what will be her sentence? And is it possible for her to be sent back to the Philippines? Many of Pinoy wants to be enlightened about her citizenship.
As I mentioned before, this is a civil court action. This is not a criminal court action. So in a civil court action, a defendant is not found guilty. They're found liable for damages. And as far as I understand, because I'm not an immigration attorney, I don't think that a civil judgment against someone would affect their citizenship. She's not being found guilty. She's not going to be sentenced to prison. She's going to be, if we get a judgment against her, she's going to have to pay damages to Mr. Quinones.
Keith, I sent you a text message.
Okay, and that is all the questions we have in the chat. If there's anybody else, raise your hand now. Otherwise, we can go ahead and wrap this up.
Well, one other thing. I just learned this.
Have Keith give some closing remarks, and we would like to thank you all for being here today.
It is my understanding, and I was not aware of this, but that an action has been filed against Ms. Contreras by Mr. Quinones in the Philippines. I've not seen that complaint, but Mr. Quinones, if you'd like to mention that, please go ahead.
Yeah, I actually also filed a criminal case against Maharlika in the Philippines as well. So both Philippines and in the US, I filed cases for her, against her.
Did you file a criminal complaint against her
Yes, I
with
did.
the authorities?
Mhm. It's been filed.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, this concludes our press conference. Thank you all for attending.